Welcome back for the third race in the Golden Trail World Series here in Canazei, Italy, at the DoloMyths Run. Let's see what it's all about. The Golden Trail World Series takes in 6 races and a final to crown the world's best trail runner. At the first race of the season in Zagama in the Basque country of Spain, Daniela Omas from Germany gave a masterclass in downhill running for her first Golden Trail victory. And in the men's, Spain's Manu Marias showed his downhill skills to also take his first victory in the Golden Trail Series. Next up was the Marathon de Mont Blanc in France. China's Yao Miao started extremely quickly, but was soon caught by American Olympian Sophia Lockley. In her very first marathon, she built a commanding lead. Miao Yao was still in the battle for the podiums though, with Ayana Cortazar from Spain, and it wasn't until the final downhill that she broke free to take second place in Mont Blanc, with Ayana also scoring her first Golden Trail podium. In the men's, race favourite Remy Bonnet was meeting some resistance before he showed why he's the world's best climber to seize control of the race with a convincing victory. American Eli Hemming was also impressing. Series leader Manu Marias was in the hunt for third and was dropped by Sweden's Petter Angau, showing his superb downhill speed, something Manu is normally known for. Manu's fourth was enough to stay overall leader in the series, but is now joined by Remy at the top of the table, with Poland's Bart Podrzejewski in third, following his 6th in Zagama and 5th in Mont Blanc. With Daniela Omas taking 6th in Mont Blanc, she still leads the series, with Therese Leboeuf closing the gap, following her 4th in Mont Blanc and 3rd in Zagama. Following her 2nd in Zagama, Caitlin Fielder holds on for 3rd, albeit with a disappointing 8th place at Mont Blanc. So, on to Canazei, a commune of 1,500 people in the Dolomites in northern Italy. It has its own language, Ladin, with the winter seeing thick snow, perfect for skiing, and the summer bringing all weather conditions, from blistering temperatures to tropical thunderstorms, often in the same day.
If I think about Dolomites, steep, fast, and beautiful.
Its steep slopes are great for rock climbing and even better for trail running. Although set at 1,450 meters, it doesn't take much climbing before altitude starts to bite.
Like massive rock. You could just stare at them for hours.
We were last here in 2021 when Norwegian Stian Angerman and Switzerland's Judith Wieder both came from behind at the peak, using their downhill technical skills to take the win.
I love it. It's fantastic to be back here.
Coming here and have been winning 2 times already, I think people know that I can do it.
The track starts in Canazei, and we leave the town with a very runnable 6.5 kilometers to Passapordoi. Here the athletes will find the first significant uphill of the race before the final climb to Pisboy. It's the highest point of the race at over 3,000 meters with full panoramic views of the Dolomites. After summiting, they begin the technical descent through Valestis. It's all downhill through Chivanis, located at kilometer 17. Then the runners only have 5 kilometers until the finish line at Canazei.
In that short and technical terrain, you have to give 100% in every part of that race.
It's difficult with this strategy. I think you just need to go full gas from the start.
I think it's better just not to think and go straight.
Go as fast as possible up so that I have a lot of gap so that I can go slow on the downhill.
The downhill is extremely technical, and runners are allowed to cut across the trail if they're skillful enough.
It's my favorite part, so for sure if I want to reach a gap, I will push for this part.
I think when you run this downhill, you can't think about things going wrong. You just need, when you reach the summit, just throw out your brain and just go full gas downhill.
I don't want to do a salto tomorrow.
With the series, they're moving to Sierra Zanao and the smoother trails of America It's the last chance for the technical specialists like Bart, Manu, and France's Elise Poncet to score big points before the final. Both Stian and Judith have won twice here before. Judith, the record holder. They both returned from the World Championships, Stian as world champion, Judith in second. So they have to start as favourites, given how course knowledge is essential to that downhill. Although Sophia Lockley is such a strong climber, Judith will struggle to make up enough time. Roberto De Lorenzo has never podiumed at the Golden Trail before, but he's had some fantastic VK times this season, so he's also one to watch.
Yeah, I'm expecting to do a good race because I'm feeling really good. My goal is top 10.
And Bart has an all-round game that could challenge for high podium places. Karina Corsioli podiumed here in 2021, so she knows she can do well on this course.
I'm super excited to be racing here again because I know the course.
Morocco's El Hussein Ouazawi has finished second here before, and shorter races favourite him.
I will try to attack. This is the last chance for me, and I will do as much as possible to get a good result.
At only 20 years old, Spain's Marlene Ossa is already a name on the circuit, but she's yet to debut at a Golden Trail World Series event. Could she be hitting the podium this year? Manu Marias dreams of technical descents like in the DoloMyths. But it's Elise Poncet who's the descender they'll all be worried about. With a strong orienteering background, Frederick Tranchand has the talent to get in the mix.
My background is orienteering, so I like when it's short and technical races.
It's kind of cool, eh?
So now I have cankles. Do you know what the word cankles means?
Kinkles?
Yeah.
No.
Fat ankles.
Ah.
We expected the race to start quickly, but with Stian ahead, El Hussein was having none of it and attacked straight away at the 2 kilometre mark.
From the start, if Stian is not going to attack, I will.
It split the pack in quite quickly. Stian and El Hussein were emerging, the two people battling for the front.
Stian pushed quite hard. I stayed with him and Elauzine the first 10 minutes, and then I felt a little bit too fast for me, so I let them go a little bit. And with Fred, we stayed together until the Passo Pordoi.
In the women's, Sophia Lockley led out, just like in Mont Blanc.
Judith Wieder was sat behind observing and then felt she had strength to attack, and soon enough pulled away.
I was definitely starting to realize that this was gonna be a really tough climb, but that's kind of how it started. She was like, I think I can go faster. So she passed me, and I did not give any effort to keep up because I knew that that was not gonna be possible.
I felt good, and I tried to get into my speed and just listen to my body, how I feel.
By the 5 kilometre mark, just off the lead, Fred and Roberto were making sharp corners and eating up the ground between them and El Hussein and Stian. And soon enough, there was a pack of 4 that held together until the first aid station.
At kilometer 6, the race strategy changed a bit because I wanted to use the poles for the last bit, which was really steep. And somehow I pushed quite hard to pass a border with my legs, and I thought I can rest my legs and use my arms instead. Stian and Elhousine, they took a gap again and they escaped from us. Roberto had the same strategy as me, he took the poles as well, but we were chasing them, they were never very far away, we could see them on the uphill.
Stian and Elhousine didn't opt for poles, which allowed them to flow through the aid station faster. They had a gap and they kept on pushing right the way to the top. I didn't think they were going to attack, but they got very, very close when they took their sticks. Judith is known for her descending, but today she was climbing like a champion.
I actually never looked back. Today, never. I knew I will fight for the win, so I need to push because they're not sleeping and they're really fast.
Judith opted for poles, and despite being a skier, Sophia just ran through the aid station. Carrie was looking strong and decided not to take poles either.
I just knew that I had to keep up with them on the first part, just not technical, but it's still pretty steep. And just start pushing on the way to Forza la Pordoi because that's more my terrain. And that's what I did.
I feel like I've run a marathon.
Shit.
The uphill is almost over, but the true battle is about to begin as our athletes take on the most technical and fastest downhill in the series. See you soon. Welcome back to the Golden Trail World Series here in the DoloMyths, Italy, where this race is about to erupt.
And then I pushed quite hard from there to the summit. I did the uphill on my own. Fred was always like 10 seconds behind, always there, always there. Yeah, he helped me a little bit to push, and I was feeling really good. I gave my best to reach the first two, but I couldn't do it.
As our two leaders, Elhousine and Stian, summited the peak of Pisboe, it was unclear who was ready to attack. 2 years ago, Stian had won this race by overturning a 2-minute lead of Elhousine on the downhill. But this year, Elhousine's a better runner. He attacked straight away in a devastating downhill move.
I saw that everyone was getting closer to me, so I decided to accelerate to stop them closing the gap. Yeah, full gas. I said to myself, run your own race. And it worked.
Only 30 seconds behind Stian were a group of Frederick, Roberto, and Italy's Daniel Pattis, all good descenders, and it wasn't long before they became a group of 4, working together to hunt down Elhousine.
So we caught up Stian, and then straight away I think Roberto and Daniel passed, and I was at the end of the group. But then Stian tried to pass a bit, and it was a bit like electric.
With such a long downhill, there was plenty of time for runners like Manu Marias and Bart Projoeski to show their skills, so the battle for the top 5 places wasn't over yet.
They were 2 minutes and 36 down at the top. Would it be the same by the bottom? Sophia had been struggling with illness and the altitude, but was finally able to run again and was keeping Judith in sight.
The combo of the heat and the highest point in the race, I just got so nauseous and started a little bit of throw up in my mouth and just took it back down because that was easier to me.
Coming over Pisbo A, Judith's lead over Sophia was only 16 seconds. Carrie Corsolio only 40 seconds behind her. This race would be won by the best technical descender.
I knew I had good chances there for the downhill because I like the downhills. But Judith was just insane. Like, she just took off and I never saw her again. On the uphill, I kept seeing her, but on the downhill, she was nowhere in sight.
It was not about taking it easy or not. I just tried to go as fast as I can without risk, and then I would see how it goes all the way down.
Taking advantage of the more technical down over Pisbo A, Karina Carsolio made light of the steep descent, overtaking Sophia and holding a gap on her for the next 5 minutes.
Sophia and I had a little battle there. It was super fun. I passed her at the beginning of the first technical downhill.
As soon as the technical downhill finished, Sophia immediately responded, and it wasn't long until she was in second place and starting to look ahead for where Judith was.
I was so ready for the uphill to be done. So then Sophia killer mode started. Well, my type of downhill killer mode, which I was pretty excited about. It was really nice. I had so many people to follow, and that made me go way, way faster. And I also was anticipating Karina passing me again, which made me go also faster.
I think I messed up my strategy because she then knew that she had to push really hard on the more runnable sections because if not, I would pass her again. And she just blew past me. Like, she flew past me on the more runnable parts and I couldn't keep up with her again.
The chasing group of 4, including Daniel Pattis from Italy and Frederic Chanchard, worked together to try and reel in El Hussein.
The last 3K, Fred really pushed hard. He wanted to break us, and Daniel had a little bit of problems. Me and Stian, we went together.
And at some point I thought, but hey, it's my chance now, I have to give it all. So I tried. I passed everybody, and yes, and I ended up in front of this small group. So then I thought, I don't look back. I just push as hard as possible to the bottom.
As the race entered the final 6 kilometers, the group reformed though, and going through the final aid station, Roberto De Lorenzi came from behind, overtaking Frederic Chanchard, and the battle was on to see who could make it to the line first.
The last 2 kilometers, I had something left in my legs, so I said I have to do it now.
Sophia Lockley was showing why she was Mont Blanc champion and started to close in on Judith Weider. But with only 5 kilometers left, was there enough time for her to catch her up?
I did get glimpses of Judith on the downhill, but she was quite far ahead. There was one point that someone told me that she had fallen, and I was like, ooh, maybe like that made the gap a bit closer. I knew at that point there was probably no chance in me catching her. I didn't know who was behind me or how far they were, so I was like, just go fast still, because I don't want to get third.
The goal to continue pushing all the way. So I tried, especially on the flatter parts where you could run.
With around 2 kilometers to go, El Hussein found out he had a minute lead, and you could see the relief on his face as he realized he was going to win his very first Golden Trail. As he came into the crowds, they erupted. It's a win he's been waiting 5 years for. and no one deserves it more.
It was very cool to see Elozin winning today. He has been second many times.
The battle for second was all the way to the line. Roberto De Lorenzo finishing only 6 seconds ahead of Fred. Robert never podiuming before in Golden Trail, and Fred not for 2 years. They built a 40-second gap on Stian Ungermund, who was in 4th.
And Daniel Pattis finished in 5th. By far his best position at the Golden Trail. Congratulations to him. They'd all been worried about Manu, but he turned his ankle on the descent. But his 6th place finish was enough to keep him at the top of the Golden Trail rankings.
In the women's, Judith had led from start to finish, and you could see the sheer ecstasy as she crossed the finish line, her first win in 2 years in Golden Trail. Despite feeling ill all week, Sophia came in for 2nd place, and Karina Carsolio returned again to the podium, her first in 2 years. Marlon Ossa, at the age of 20, finished in 4th place, a tremendous result and surely a sign of things to come. And a local Italian runner, Alice Gaggi, came in 5th, having never topped 10 before. A great result for her and for the home crowd.
This was one race too many for Caitlin Fielder, who finished down in 17th place. However, the extra points does mean she's now leading our series. It brings me huge pride and confidence. The things that are going to come will be good things for sure.
All 3 wins here are quite different. On the first year, I was a rookie. 21, I came back from giving birth, and now I still can be able to race, and I will go on as long as it's fun.
With this kind of athletes at the start line today, finish second is really something emotional and something special for me.
Because I was coming into it, not thinking that it would maybe be my best, I'm very, very happy that I got second, and I'm a bit surprised that I pulled that off.
To finish in 3rd was really satisfying for me. First of all, I wanted to prove to myself that I'm able to be back on the podium of the Golden Trail World Series.
It's just so satisfying to know that all the hard work that I've been doing, it's paying off, and I'm just super excited to be sharing this with beautiful people.
We're back on the 12th of August for Sierra Zanau, the granddad of trail racing. It's 31 kilometers with 2,200 meters of elevation. But most importantly, it's where trail runners meet road runners to find out who'll be the fastest up and down the mountains of Switzerland. It's gonna be the race of the season. See you there.